Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be going over the new Makeup Geek rebrand. I bought the Matrix Mega Kit, which includes the Matrix Color Palette and the Matrix Neutral Palette. I purchased both of these. I think you guys probably saw me do it on my purchase or pass video where I talked about whether or not I was going to get these, and then I freaked out because they came out I think that day and I was like, let me get these right now. And I purchased them first thing in that video. So here we have the Matrix Color Palette and then the Matrix Neutral Palette. Each of these on their own are $124.99. You're going to get 28 shadows, and you're also going to get this beautiful, beautiful palette right here. I really like this upgraded packaging. I think it is amazing. But if you buy the set like I did, it's $219.99, and then there's discount codes out there as well, so you can get 10% off. I believe with shipping and everything, I spent $211 and some change. And I've had these for a little while now. Not a little while, maybe like 4 or 5 days. And I've been playing with them. I wanted to make sure I really tried these out before I got on camera and gave you guys my thoughts. And I do have 5 looks for you guys, but I'm going to do things a little differently today. I'm going to put all of the tutorials at the end of the video, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts and the swatches and everything at the beginning of the video. First, let's talk about the neutral palette. As you can see, I have put all of my pans in here exactly the same way that she had done them for the Matrix system. These come loose, so you have to take all of the envelopes with the little shadows in them and put them in how they are meant to be, or however you want. So if you wanted to, there's different ways you can buy. You can either get this size, you can get smaller palettes, you can choose your colors, you can do whatever you want. I just went with the 2 larger palettes that already had the shades selected so that I could just play with them and tell you guys about the quality. But there's so many different things that you can do. You can get 4 pan, you can get 9 pan, you could get these. I believe she's coming out with face pans as well. I don't think they're out yet, but it'll have the blush, highlight, bronzer, that kind of thing. So you can have that on one side of your palette and then your shadows on the other. So there's a plethora of things that you can do. It really reminds me of MAC just because I worked there for so long and I worked at the store where you could make the palettes. So that's the kind of vibe that I got, which is a really great thing. I never understood why more people didn't do that because it's just so much easier having everything all in one, but I digress. Anywho, this palette as well as the color has this matrix system. As you can see, we have rows of different colors and different tones, starting from the lightest and going down to the deepest. And I think that is so cool that she did that. So you can sit here and create an entire eye look with just one row or mix it up, do whatever you want. I did one look where I just did this whole entire row and just created a smoky eye, and it just works so beautifully. So if you're kind of confused as to, I don't know what shade to use next and you want to have like this monochromatic look, but just have some depth to it, it's really easy to just go in with a row and just kind of add like one of these for your brow bone highlight or inner corner or anything like that. It's just really, really, really well put together. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the swatches. One thing I don't like about palettes like this is that as a YouTuber, I can't be like, oh, this is this shade or this shade or this shade. But I have a Polaroid zip. So I took the photo from Makeup Geek's site and I printed it off and I put it on the back of my palette. Now I know what color is what in here. Anywho, let's go ahead and get into the swatches of the neutral palette. And I'm going to do them by row. Instead of going across this way, I'm going to go row by row by row, or column by column. First, we have So Pale, Vanilla Bean, Shimma Shimma, Banana Split, Bedrock, Clean Slate, Take for Granted, Smoke Signal, Beach Please, Latte as Usual, Espresso Yourself, Dark Roasted, Creme Brulee, Honey Badger, Cheetah Bear, Chocolate Wasted, Prim and Proper, Blushing Beauty, Vintage, Americano, Cupcake, Getting Figgy with It, Bitten, Give Me the Dirt, Had Me at Yellow, Tiki Hut, Deja Brew, and Coffee Before Talkie. For her shadows, she has 2 different formulas, matte and then foiled. This palette is all matte, and it's kind of confusing to me because I just remember Shimma Shimma being a little bit, shimmery. And Shimma Shimma is in this palette, and it's definitely not the same as it used to be. This has a little bit of something to it, but really whenever you put it on the eyes, it's basically matte. So you can consider this one all matte. And if you wanted to purchase a matte shadow by itself, it is $5.49. Now let's move on to the color palette. This one contains mattes and foil. So like I said, the mattes are $5.49 and then the foiled are $7.99. And you can see at the top, that is where we have all of the foiled shades, and then the rest of them down below are mattes. This one has this same type of system going on. You have each color category, and then from the foiled, and then you have lightest to darkest in each column. Now let me go ahead and show you guys the swatches. Illuminati, Olive You, Spilled Tea, Enchanted Forest, Medieval, Blew Me Away, Seize the Day, Time Travel, Daydreamer, Current Obsession, Curfew, Eternally Grateful, Whimsical, On Wednesdays, Back to the Fuchsia, Wine and Dine, Starry-Eyed, Tuscan Sun, Pinky Promise, Very Shady, In the Spotlight, Peach for the Stars, Staycation, Hot Tamale, Legend, Chickadee, Morocco, and Brick House. Now that you guys have seen all the swatches, I'm going to get into my thoughts, and again, all 5 of the tutorials will be at the very end. I'm going to start off with something that just kind of caught my eye, and obviously we're all used to Makeup Geek's shadows being round. I have 2 palettes here, this one right here, and then this one right here, which obviously is a little bit more colorful. These are all the shades that I had prior to the rebranding. And obviously the first thing I noticed was square pan versus the round pan. And I kind of thought that maybe these were going to have a little bit more product in them just because they look like they're bigger, but you're actually getting less. In the original, you got 1.8 grams of product, and in these, you're getting 1.5. I don't know if the formula has changed at all that would make, a difference in weight, but I just want to point that out, that there is a difference in the amount of product you're getting, just an FYI. Quality of the shadows. Like I mentioned, I've had these for a few days. I've played with them. Not only have I done the looks that you guys will see at the end, but I have played with them just off camera as well. I can say all of the foils perform really well. This shade right here, Medieval, is a little bit harder pressed or slightly different than what I would say all the rest of them are. All of the other ones go on even with a fluffy brush. That's how I applied the one I have on today, with a fluffy brush on its side, and they just go on so beautifully. This one, you're going to want to use something synthetic and definitely pick up more product and pat and swipe it on, but it still works really nicely. For the mattes, all right, this is across the board with both palettes. The warm section, no issues with them at all. They all were pigmented. They all went on top of each other very nicely. Beautiful. The purple section is good, but this one over here is where you kind of run into a little bit of hit and miss, as well as over here, and I'll talk about that. But this shade in particular, what color are you? This is Blew Me Away. So in the first color tutorial that I do 2 looks with a neutral, 2 looks with a color, and then 1 look that I did one today with them both combined. This shade right here, when I went to deepen up the outer corner, kind of thinned out, got slightly patchy, but just kind of thinned out a little bit. And I was wondering, okay, is that because I have so many shadows on already, or is it a bad shade? So that is why I used it again today, and I will tell you that whenever I put it on top of just primer, it worked much better than what it did whenever I used it to deepen up a look. Some people aren't going to care about that at all. For me, I like to build shadows. I like to put on colors and be able to just add depth where I want to and play around and not have to worry about anything skipping, anything being sheer, muddy, or anything like that. So this wasn't bad in the very first look that I did with it, but it wasn't great either. So I just want to mention that. And I went back in with this one to deepen the look up, and that kind of saved it for me. But that look was not my favorite because I felt like it kind of ruined it a little bit. But it's all in the name of trying shadows out and seeing what works and what doesn't. And if you watch this tutorial to see this shade work better on top of just the primer, because I started off with this shade instead of going in with it after, bear with me because I basically did the look backwards. backwards. I started off with the darker shade, then kind of went in with this green around the edges, and then I went in with this shade over here around the edge of that, and then I did the highlight, and that's completely backwards from what I would typically do. And then I added in this shade right here. This actually works really nicely. I know everybody loves Corrupt. I do too. I really do too. It's such a good black, but it can be intimidating. This one is not black. It is more of like a charcoal. So you're able to add it without it being too intense and kind of get the depth that you want without it being just like a black. But personally, I love Corrupt. I just think it's such a great shadow. In this palette here, I kind of had the same type of deal. The warm shades were so easy. I did like a orangey red eye, and it's just, I was able to put everything on, add color, add color, add color, and it just was seamless. It was beautiful. It was blended. It wasn't patchy. I absolutely loved it. With the one that I did with it was a little bit more on the cool side. I did have to layer just a little bit more, but I feel like overall, the palettes are really nice. I think that if you liked the Makeup Geek original shadows, you are going to like these. There is something a little different to me. I don't know. I picked these up and I was playing with them a little bit, and I feel like there is a slight difference, and I don't know if there's any actual reformulation or anything, or if it's in my head. You know, I've used a lot of shadows since then, but I feel like there's something that's just slightly different, not enough to complain about or anything like that. So if you liked Makeup Geek shadows before, I think you're gonna like them now. I think that these shadows are beginner friendly. They're pigmented without being too much, and because they're softer, it's easier to get a blend out of them for beginners. So I do like these, but I'm not absolutely in love. And I think I'm going to have to play with them even more. My biggest thing is that I feel like shadows have come such a long way now. I mean, we have so many indie brands that are just absolutely killing it. So I just have to say this. I think the price point on the palettes being that you're getting 28 and 28 and then both of the actual palettes to hold them, which are amazing quality. I love the see-through plastic on the front, and it's got this grippy texture on the back. Amazing quality. I have zero gripes about the price with that. Now, when it comes to singles, I have to tell you, Sydney Grace, if I'm going to pick between Makeup Geek and Sydney Grace, I'm picking Sydney Grace. It's just Sydney Grace has one of the best eyeshadows in the game, just in the game. So I have to go with Sydney Grace. I know her matte shades are $6 and these are $5.49, but you are getting the 1.8 instead of the 1.5. And then on top of that, you can use discount codes as well. I have one, it's just a discount code. It is not an affiliate code. I make no money off of it or anything like that. So if you wanted to use it, it's always listed down below. I just have to throw that out there that if you're just looking for really great singles, I would stick to Sydney Grace. And I feel like I'm going to get torn apart in the comments for that, but I mean, that's just my opinion, so it is what it is. Let me reiterate though, if you loved Makeup Geek before, you're not going to be disappointed by these. They're really beautiful colors. Some of them you do have to work with a little bit, but overall, beautiful palettes, beautiful colors, and that is all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Now, if you want to see my tutorials, just stay tuned. Bye, guys.